Hey there, cool kids, welcome back. Welcome back. We're working on our fence again today. This time we're doing our gate, and we're building up posts around the gate before we actually install the gate itself. So that's what's happening today on Make and Believe.
Okay, so as you can see, this is what we're working with. This is actually a metal pole underneath that goes all the way down into the concrete foundation and through the retaining wall. And it has been wrapped with some fence pickets and a couple of 2x2s, very ingeniously designed by Nathan and I. And we will be building it out into this massive post using these larger pieces of wood.
2x10s.
2x10 and 2x8.
Actually, they're both 2x10s.
What?
I bought the wrong pieces of wood.
I
But
knew it.
It looks so much better, so I didn't want to tell you.
I
Now
knew
I'm
it.
telling you
I
on
was
camera.
Like, that doesn't look like a 2x8, or you should look so much bigger.
Right.
Well, it is 1.5 inches bigger, but it looks a lot bigger.
Yep. But they're beautiful pieces of wood, which is very rare from the local hardware store. So I'm happy with them, and this will perfectly
Can you
frame
go
them out.
back there so we
I
can see
can.
the comparison. So you can see the comparison of the large post here and the small post here, and eventually we're going to wrap those posts as well so that they don't look quite so puny, and putting a gate here and an arbor, which might have to be a different video. You have to put wood.
All right, so you can see I've got this mocked up so far, just to kind of see how everything's going to go together. This one piece is longer. It's actually 8 feet, so 8 feet from the bottom all the way to the top, and I'm going to have to trim it at the top so that it levels off with the forward and back facing 2x10s. But this one, we're going to drive lag bolts into the retaining wall for extra support, and then everything else will get screwed together. Now, on the inside of this post, right now, we've got some free space, and that free space is going to need to be padded out. So I've got some 2x4s that we're going to use to build up this section in here so that I can screw everything together, and we've got a nice solid post in the end. Yeah, that is the plan. Here we go.
So of course, I'm the builder, not the designer of this project, and yeah, I don't get the final say. And even though I loved how that 2x10 looked, yeah, Tiffany, not so much. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go with a 2x8 instead for the side width. You know, it's just some more sanding and some more staining and problem solved. So elbow grease to the rescue.
I know this may be a little shocking to long-time viewers of this channel, but I'm not going to dive into my collection of screws from across the ages. Instead, we bought a box of screws purposefully for this project, and they're actually beautiful. They're black, which is great. It would go well with like oil rubbed bronze and black hardware, which is what we're going for on the gates. And I got a 50-pack because I'm gonna need like 40 of them, and it's good to have a little extra. So yeah, I'm gonna use these, and then I'm going to paint our lag bolts either black or oil rubbed bronze to match them, so that all the hardware that connects all these post pieces together looks the same and congruent. Though, gonna dig through my collection of bits to find this one, which is got a magnet in it and is the perfect size and shape to grab right onto our screws. So assembly of the posts is next, and then once they're in place and level, then I can anchor them into the retaining wall with my lag screws. I have now cut and sanded and stained the 2x8x8 replacement boards for the posts, and I think they're about dry enough for me to pick them up with my gloves and bring them to the front. That will be next. All right, so I have leveled out my first 2 posts, and I've started to screw them together along this initial seam here. Got 4 screws on one side, and before I screw the other 2x10 into the back side there, what I needed to do was attach a 2x2 here in order to fill out the gap. So this the 2x10 I'm about to put in now, screws will come in this way and hit it, and screws will go through this way to hit that on the other side. And that will round off our post. So I'm going to get my clamps out and get this 2x10 into position and clamped up next so that I can put the screws in from this side. And then I'll essentially have a U-shaped piece of wood that can come on and off this to reposition or level out until I've got it perfect and I can screw it in from the front and the back to the existing post. All right, our posts are in place. You know, they're not absolutely perfect, but I really like them. I think they turned out great. Color match was fantastic. I love these screws. Really cool hardware. So the next step is to start to work on the gate itself. There's still some finishing touches to be done here and there. I've got to get the lag screws in at the bottom. Probably going to add some construction adhesive back there too to fill in any gaps because my bricklaying skills were, well, novice. But I'm pretty pleased with how this turned out. To be continued. All right, so the posts are pretty much in. I've actually now added the lag bolts on each side, which are slightly different. The pattern, they're a little more towards the center of the post than the screws that connect the wood together. But for structural support, I thought this was the best way to do it. And honestly, I think the pattern looks pretty good overall, the way the two marry. As you may know, I'm not the best bricklayer, so my bricks aren't straight and there's a bit of a gap. On this side, I've started to mitigate that gap with some Gorilla Ultimate concrete and brick glue. It's adhesive. It comes in like a caulk gun style tube, and it's paintable, thank goodness, because we certainly don't want that to be white until the end of time. But that was the first application, and one tube just got me basically that far. So not even one whole post, and I've got another post to go. So we've got more tubes on order, and that will be coming next. But let me step out to the street real quick and show you our next awesome reveal. I was remiss and I did not film the process of putting these up, but as you can see at the porch, I have begun to wrap the posts in similar fashion to the posts here at our gate, and I think it looks really spectacular. Let's get a close-up. I'm not actually done with them yet. I've only done 3 of the 4 sides, so I can show you a nice comparison. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Like the big posts really give the front of the house such a grandiose and luxurious look compared to where we were at before. Let me show you where we were at before, because the back of these, oh, pardon my address. No stalkers, please. So yeah, you can see the old post embedded in the back here. It's just like a 4x4. It's not big at all. And we've taken that out to a 2x10 by almost 8 feet. It's a little shorter than 8 feet at the top there, all the way down. And then on the sides here, we've got 2x8s coming back. And what I'm gonna do is trim down a final third 2x8 to go in between these in the back and zip it in from each side. And that 2x8 will attach to the original 4x4 to make this nice and structurally sound. So that's the next step with those. And then I'll jump back on the gate project where we will continue to work on the arbor and then the gate itself. All right, our post wrapping, I should say, on the porch are complete, and they really look great. I'm very pleased with how these turned out. They're nice and solid. They're not going anywhere, and they're just big and beautiful. Anyway, so I've also finished the chemical bond adhesion for the posts that are going to support our gate. We haven't painted this yet. I'm actually going to leave painting until last, I think, on this project and move on to actually building the gate itself next, and then we'll work on the arbor. The arbor will probably come in another video, but I think the gate should go pretty quickly, so I'm going to try to pop it into this one. But before we work on that project, let's come around here and And look at the final posts. These posts down here for our driveway rolling gate, which is going to come out in another video shortly, are actually just facade pieces. They're 2x10s and they are 6 feet tall. They're both cut from the same 12-foot tall piece and milled. And they just go on the front to surround our rolling gate and give it something to attach to and to kind of, you know, even out the look overall of the house. We're eventually going to be redoing this back fence, so I'm not entirely concerned with it at the moment. And these posts are kind of easily affixed so that they can be removed if needed. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm pretty pleased, and we will come back to this gate project after we finish the gate in the front. All right, so we have constructed our gate doors here in the backyard in the workshop zone, and they are of course made out of fence pickets, same material, this redwood that we have sanded and stained, and they're looking pretty good actually. So the next step here, oh sorry, at the top, Tiffany has designed a custom pattern here. I really like it. I think it's going to look great. And we're going to move these to the front. We're going to get our hardware options out, and we're going to look at everything all together and then start to get assembling. All right, so Tiffany is spray painting our hardware here. Picky McChoosy Pants picked out some really cool stuff here. However, the colors were not uniform in order for us to get the exact hardware that we wanted. And our color of choice, while it looks like black, and it might look like black on camera, is actually called oil rubbed bronze. And we used to buy this in the brand called Rust-Oleum, but apparently they've stopped making it, or they've at least stopped stocking it at our local hardware stores. So we did find it in Krylon, and it looks equally as cool as this. So I just went to a local hardware store and I bought out their entire stock so that we will have this in the future in case of need, so that all of our hardware for all of our gate projects will line up and look nice. So here's an example of what this hardware looked like. It's pewter, right? Isn't it pewter?
Yeah. Old world pewter.
Old world pewter. But we like the oil rubbed bronze, and you know, the hinges were actually black. So to make everything the same color is kind of the way we're going here with this project. Once this dries up, we will start to install it on our gate. Product placement. Sponsor us, Krylon. Give us all of your money.
This is what happens when you decide to build a custom gate. It is now somewhere around 7 p.m. Because everything is very custom built, things aren't exactly perfectly square. And
Also, because
These-
you're dealing with wood, it's not perfectly straight.
these inexpensive
Ever.
fence pickets that saved us so much money are a lot of them warped. So my favorite board, which did go here, had to be removed because it was warped at the bottom and we couldn't shut the gate. Then we realized that we could, woo! That looks good. We could shut the gate, but the frame piece there on the bottom, when you tried to open them both at the same time, would rub against the other one, which I found annoying. And I figure if we're working so hard on this thing, we might as well get it perfect. So Nathan got the jigsaw out, and that is what he did. And now we're going to put the final new board back on.
Ish.
Ta-da!
So we've got the hinges on, the gates opens, both both sides open and close. It's a miracle.
And they open at the same time, which is the most recent adjustment that we did.
And it took some adjustments. I gotta say, when you're working with wood, it's just not ever perfect, and you got to expect that going in. So yeah, we've got it working now, and then we will add the rest of the hardware tomorrow and finalize this project. All right, there she is in all her glory, our brand new gate. Hardware installed. That oil rubbed bronze is looking beautiful. Let's open her up. Check out the hardware there on the back side. That's the latch. We've got a lock. We've got hinges. We're officially in business. I'm super stoked about this. This has been a really fun project. I hope you enjoyed this video. We will revisit this project again next time in a video where we build our arbor, and I'm excited about that too. So I will see you then on Make and Believe.